sense like how our filter is really differs from the competitors. So first of all, let's start with the layers. So it's very important that what you can read is E3 carbon filter, right? And I got many questions, what does it mean it's an E3 carbon filter? Now the 3 means that it's a 3-layer carbon filter. It's first layer, we have the pre-filter. You might think it's just paper, but it's actually the material is not paper, it's a non-woven material which is exactly developed the shape of it to filter the bigger particles such as sand, chlorine, iron. That's why the dirty one has this different color because of the big particles, the bigger, what we actually can see in the water if we put it on the paper. Also, like it depends on your city, depends on your country. It differs like what is the contamination in your cities and countries. So it really depends, but it's very important that big particles is first filtered out. Why? Because then the next stage, the carbon filter is underneath this material. You can check yourself. It's like almost like a textile. It's made of different membranes. It's like a fiber-like material. It's very smooth, but if you, after the presentation or here, you have a look, you can actually see the fibers overlapping each other. And it's very important because in this way it captures all the medium-sized contaminants, such as almost 80% of microplastic, some bigger molecules of pharmaceutical byproducts, so the medium size. In this way, as we have this high performance membrane, all the water which actually touches the carbon filter will be already pre-filtered. It's going to be a fairly clean water. It's very important because in this way, the actual carbon filter can work effectively and be able to do its real job to filter out the tiny particles. What does it mean, tiny particles? Every contaminant down to 0.2 microns. If in the future a customer, someone asks you like, does this filter this? Does this filter this? And we're saying for you molecules, just check on the Google internet the size of that molecule. If it's bigger than 0.2 micron, it will be filtered out. And you confidently can say, yes, it filters that out. The carbon filter mainly filters microorganisms, so the really tiny particles like waterborne cysts, like different types of medical products like hormones, for example, for contraception. Unfortunately, all of that is unfiltered because with chlorine, unfortunately, they can't reduce all the contaminants from the water. How we produce the carbon, it's very important. So the coconut shell, it's considered as a food waste because the food industry use the inner part of the coconut shell, right? Shredded coconut, coconut flavor, coconut water, the inside of it. So they throw out the shell. But we figured out, as a priority with Nutrilite, you know that sustainability is one of the key pillars. Okay, let's find something which is organic, which is a waste, but we can do something good with it. We can turn it to something valuable. And this is why we choose coconut shell. We collect it and then we burn it on a very, very high temperature, make it the charcoal itself, and then we collect the charcoal. This is a 3-in-1 technology. We put it into a mold, and this is the most important. Then we compress it. This is the so-called compressed carbon filter. We compress it with very high power into the actual carbon block. Why is, again, it's important. In this way, of course, we need to use a lot more coconut shell. You can tell because when you compress something, you need more and more and more to create the same size. Other brands, on the other hand, they can make it cheaper, like just simply skipping the compression part. They just collect the charcoal, they put it into the mold, and done. What's the issue with that? First of on the actual eSpring filter, it has a very smooth, even surface. Even the color is important. It's completely black with even white spots in it. This is purely charcoal. And as it's so even, you can tell it was made of one ingredient, which in our case is coconut shell. Then, if you have a look on the competitors, both of them, the small one and this, and on my left-hand side, these are the competitors, also called activated carbon filters. But if you see, it's uneven. It has very big particles because they just skip the compression part. Also, you can find other color spots in it, brown color, yellow color. So in this way, always switch to your mind and you always ask yourself, what do they burn to create the charcoal if there are other colors in it? Which already makes some contours in my mind, because as long as you burn something, no person can tell what was that before. So they can burn so many things to make something cheaper, and then they can say it's charcoal, it's a carbon filter. But actually, if you would like to support our house filtering the water, we don't want to use something which we don't know what's going to be in the water after we filter it. We don't want to add more harm. We would like to remove the harm, right? So that's why the technology and the resources matter. But other problems also arise when we talk about that. So eSpring technology with this compressed carbon filter absorbs all the water completely. This is what I can demonstrate here for you. Even if I put more water, not a single drop gonna goes into the waste. Can you see it? Like everything, if I can put it on the filter, it's gonna go inside. Why? Because the surface with high compression creates a very beautiful small particles so the water can through and it filters everything out. Second one, if you see, it's completely closed. The bottom is closed. Why? Because we would like everything going through the filter. It's not even a question. Why? Because to filter something, guess what? It should go through the filter. You would think that it's obvious. So if you see a competitor, both of them, it doesn't align with that. It doesn't touch the actual carbon. I tell you why they do that. Because with this cheap technology that they don't use the compression technology, unfortunately the water doesn't go through the filter. It remains on the surface. It remains, or it goes down without any filtration. But as they have this nice technique, this color, in this way the water still can go to the filtered water. So actually half of the water going to be filtered and the other half is still going to remain the same. So let's see the other competitor. The drops actually remains on the surface. All of them. It remains on the surface. Or if I use higher pressure, just imagine when it's a tap water flow, which has even pressure. It goes unfiltered underneath. So when someone tell me like, oh, we have an activated carbon filter, this is the same. How it could be the same when 50% of your water doesn't actually go through the filter. And you only can find this out if you break the filter out and you test it. That's why science is matter, that's why technology is matter, and please never forget that sustainability, I think it's a task for all of us, and that's why it's one of our #1 pillars. Sustainability in everything we do, besides the science and technology, because we will leave this planet behind to our children, grandchildren, and we have one planet. So my message would be not just tick the box that yes, I'm filtering something and did my house, but really make a wise decision and choose something which is actually support your health, your loved one health, but also giving back to Mother Nature. So thank you so much for your attention. You can have a look, you can come closer and see yourself the main differences. Thank you.